widespread usage of internet has made everyone become accessible to almost everything, including the personal information of others. So here are some questions for you. Can your sensitive and private information be shared with anyone without your permission? And do we have the right to privacy, and does it exist in Malaysia? So today I beat to everyone. My name is XIAN LIT, and I'm the Exco ALSA for the 18th Law Student Society. And today, I will bring you to dive into the nitty-gritty of the privacy law in Malaysia. So if you are following me till the end of this video, you will definitely get the answer. So without further ado, let's begin. So what is the right to privacy? Privacy is a human right. It is the right to live without being subjected to the undesired public disclosure. So it can be also known as the right to be left alone. So what is the legal positions of privacy right in Malaysia? So for your information, Malaysian Federal Constitution does not specifically stipulate that a person has the right to privacy. And there's no statutory enacted law that guarantee a Malaysian citizen of his privacy not to be invaded. So you may ask, then how about the Personal Data Protection Act 2010? Doesn't it protect our privacy? But the answer is that the Personal Data Protection Act deals specifically with personal data rather than privacy. Take for an example, the Personal Data Protection Act will not protect you if you found out that your neighbor is spying on you by gazing into your bedroom through the binoculars. And Section 509 of the Penal Code does make it a criminal offense to intrude upon the privacy of a person. However, this strictly relates to the action which insult the modesty of a person. And upon the conviction, an offender may be punished with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 5 years, or with a fine, or both. And the Communication and Multimedia Act 1998 also prohibits the provisions of the offensive content with the intent to annoy, abuse, threaten, or harass any person. Nevertheless, this is in respect of offensive content and is not specifically about the right to privacy. Meaning to say, the Malaysian law did recognize our right to privacy. However, suing for an invasion of privacy is a bit more difficult because it usually requires an extra element such as humiliations, harassment, or damage to someone's reputation. Another scenario for you. You can probably take an action against someone for harassment if they are following you and also taking pictures of you. But if they did not publish your photos to rise scandals or using them in some questionable way, you have no right to control how they use the photos taken. But there is a contrary view in the case of Lee Yu Paul versus Dr. Lee Tekman. A doctor has taken a photograph of a plaintiff Anus during the medical procedure and without the prior consent of the plaintiff. So the doctor alleged that the photograph was taken for the plaintiff medical record. And the court held that the failure of the doctor to obtain the prior consent from the plaintiff before taking the photograph constitute an invasion of the privacy. So the plaintiff was awarded with the nominal damages of 25,000, and the court also ordered that the memory card containing the photograph to be destroyed. Next, imagine that if someone installed a CCTV in front of your house, can you stop them from doing so? So this is actually what happened in the case of Liu Che-po and others versus Pua Yong-yong and others. So in this case, the neighbors Liu and Pua were said to have a lot of problems between one another. And Pua installed several cameras all around the house, and one of the cameras was directly pointed at Liu's house. Liu asked the court to give an injunction to stop Pua for using that particular camera. At the first instance, the court dismissed the injunction, saying that the right to privacy was not recognized in Malaysia. It then appeared. So Liu insisted that their privacy was invaded because of that CCTV. And due to that CCTV, they had to keep their doors locked at all the time. This in turn led to them falling sick often due to the poor ventilation. And they also suffer mental trauma. And the court held that there was no proof that the Liu and his family had suffered so greatly due to the poor CCTV. Their claim of suffering the health problems and trauma were not strong enough. However, the court did say that the camera was an invasion of the privacy as the CCTV was pointed directly into their house and the neighbor could watch them 24 hours, 7 days in a week. So he was convinced that the camera was deliberately to put them to spy on them because the family has problems with each other. So Paul was then ordered to remove the camera and also banned from installing any cameras in that direction again. And the right to privacy may also be interpreted differently in the context of an employer and employee relationship. So there's a case where an employee placed a camera on his desk to deter his colleague from harassing him. However, another employee seated in front of the camera launched a complaint to the company's HR department that his privacy was invaded. The industrial court held that there was an invasion of the privacy as the other employee's workstation is his private place. And this was therefore held that the company was entitled to direct the employee to remove the camera from his desk. So to encapsulate, the Malaysia court are generally reluctant to accept that there is a general principle of invasion of privacy. However, the court did in some occasion point out that the person's privacy has been invaded. So it is a time for our lawmakers to come up with our legislation that provides protections for all types of privacy, not just the protection to the private data. So if you are still with me, a million thanks for your valuable time and stay tuned for the next video. See you around.